The sound of the delete key echoed in the silent computer lab, not as a click, but as the shattering of my entire, hard-won future. It was 11:47 p.m. We were in the cramped, quiet basement lab of the city's main library, deep downtown. This was the only place with fast internet, and it smelled of stale coffee and fear. The streetlights outside cast long, weak yellow bars across the dusty floor, making everything feel urgent and desperate. This urban location, a place of study and hope, was about to become the site of a disaster. My name is Jordan. I was sitting at the biggest monitor, my back aching from weeks of sleepless nights. My final architecture portfolio, the complex, detailed, life-changing project that would win me the prestigious Urban Future Scholarship, was open on the screen. The absolute deadline was exactly 11:59 p.m. 12 minutes away. My cousin, Kayla, stood right behind me. She was supposed to be my teammate, my family. We'd grown up sharing the same noisy block, and now, the same ambition to win this one massive scholarship that would change both our lives forever. I had just stepped away for 2 minutes to get a drink of cold water from the fountain outside the door. 2 minutes of trust. 2 minutes of stupid, naive hope that blood meant loyalty. When I came back, the screen was blank. The main portfolio folder, labelled J. Fennell, Final Urban Submission, was gone. The message flashed, stark and white, in the centre of the dark screen, like a spotlight on a terrible crime. Are you sure you want to permanently delete these 48 items? This cannot be undone. This was the retention wall. I didn't need to look at the clock. I looked straight at Kayla. She wasn't smiling. She was breathing fast, her face frozen, her eyes wide with a mixture of terror and fierce, ugly triumph. She was caught, but she was winning. Kayla, I whispered, the name tasting like dust and betrayal in my mouth. She didn't answer. She just slowly raised her hand, her finger trembling slightly, and hit the button on the screen that read, yes. The folder vanished, my portfolio, my careful, hand-drawn schematics, my complex calculations, my countless hours, my hope, all gone. It didn't go to the trash. It was erased from the local drive, permanently gone with the speed of a single electrical command. The shock was a physical punch to my core. I felt my chest tighten, making it impossible to breathe. 12 minutes left. 12 years of careful saving and planning. Wiped out by the person who called me family. I wanted to scream, to grab her, to break the computer into pieces. I wanted to unleash the pain and ruin the moment. But I didn't scream. I just looked at her, then back at the blinking cursor on the empty screen. The loud, chaotic reaction would wait. I slowly pulled up my tiny, custom-built application. It was a simple black screen with green text, a world away from the fancy colours of my portfolio program. I typed in a single, quiet, purposeful command. I submitted the cloud backup from the deleted folder. And then I waited, watching the numbers that told the whole truth. Our lives were always tied together, me and Kayla. We lived one floor apart in the same noisy apartment building complex, right by the busy highway. I loved architecture. She loved the fame and the luxury that came with it. We were both chasing the same escape route. The Urban Future Scholarship was massive. It wasn't just for college. It was a full 5-year salaried mentorship and internship program with the City Council's most powerful planning department. The winner would get the chance to redesign their old broken-down Southside block where we grew up. The judges wanted a blueprint that truly fixed the noise, the crowding, and the feeling of being trapped by low expectations. My project was deeply personal. It was called The Quiet Towers. It used clever, sustainable ideas, sound-dampening materials, vertical gardens, and smart wall layouts to bring silence, light, and green spaces into our crowded building complex. It was honest. It fixed the noise first. Kayla's project was flashy and loud. She wanted to build a huge community centre with a giant gym and a performance space. It was exciting, but it wouldn't fix the real, core problems of the people who lived there. Her plans were weak and her drawings were messy. She focused on the picture, not the foundation. I had helped her for weeks. I stayed up late, helping her fix her shadows and clean up her digital lines. I showed her how to use the special design program's advanced features. She took my help, but her eyes were always cold. She saw my quiet, consistent excellence not as an inspiration, but as a fatal block in her road. 3 days ago, Kayla asked to see my final files. She said she wanted to check the scale of my building against her own simple layout. I sent her a link to the shared cloud folder we both used for school projects. It felt safe. It felt like family. It was the second time I made a mistake. The first was trusting her. The escalation, the 7 minutes of control. With 10 minutes left on the clock, the noise in the lab was gone. Only the hum of the computers remained. Kayla stood rigid, watching me. She thought I was broken, panicking, trying to recover the files from the recycle bin. A useless, slow effort at this stage. But I wasn't looking at the recycle bin. I was watching my simple black screen. My simple black screen showed me something she didn't know existed. A small line of code that ran whenever she tried to open or modify a file from our shared cloud drive. I was a quiet architect, but also a clever coder. I'd set up a special system months ago. The cloud drive wasn't just for backup, it was for proof. Any attempt to delete the master file from any shared point would immediately trigger the upload of a secondary, read-only copy directly to the submission portal. I submitted my portfolio, not from the hard drive, but directly from the prepared cloud link. The file was safe there. The upload bar started moving, slow and steady. My heart started beating again, strong and focused. Kayla saw the file moving on the screen's main corner. She gasped, a small choke sound of pure failure. What? You had a backup? Why didn't you tell me you did that? I looked at the clock. 11:51 p.m. 8 minutes left. I didn't answer her. I didn't need to. I'd moved past screaming. I was in the quiet place where cold, perfect revenge lives. Kayla saw the file loading, but she still stood there, not running, not leaving. That was the clue. If she only wanted to hurt me out of spite, she would have run away already. She stayed because she still needed something desperately. She stepped closer to the screen, her voice low and pleading. Jordan, wait, don't submit. Look, my final submission. It won't load. The file is corrupted. We have to work together. Just give me your finished plan for the quiet towers. I can use your structural numbers, and we can share the prize. We're family. I saw the lie instantly. She hadn't deleted my files just to sabotage me. She deleted them because she desperately needed them to cover her failure. I pulled up her submission page on a different monitor. She didn't know I had the password. I helped her set up the account months ago, and the password was still the same simple code. Her file wasn't corrupted. Her file was empty. She had submitted an empty, tiny 1 KB file days ago, hoping the judges wouldn't notice until after the deadline closed. She had done no real work. She thought if she killed my portfolio, the judges would have no choice but to pick her flashy, simple idea. She deleted my work to force me to give her the raw, excellent files to patch her own enormous, lazy failure. I looked at the empty file she had submitted, and the deep, cold betrayal hit me again. She wasn't just jealous. She was lazy, calculating, and she was willing to destroy me to hide her lack of effort. 11:54 p.m. 5 minutes left. My file was 80% uploaded. I closed her empty submission page. I didn't give her the files. I just kept watching my screen. Kayla's face turned ugly. She grabbed the mouse. She tried to click the cancel upload button on my screen. I was faster. I hit the lock key sequence, freezing the mouse instantly. "What are you doing, Jordan? You don't leave family to fail," she cried, her voice still a furious whisper. "You deleted my future," I replied, the truth simple and cutting. Family doesn't do that to family. I pointed to my simple black screen, the one running my custom application. "That wasn't just a backup," I explained quietly. "When you deleted the folder, you triggered a special rule. The file was moved to a new secret server, but before it moved, the system took a snapshot of the moment of deletion, logging the user and the location." I showed her the last line of code on the screen. It wasn't the file name, it was a 4-part number. "That's the IP address," I told her, my voice low and steady. "The unique address of the computer that hit the delete button. The address of this computer, right here in the library lab." Kayla sagged, her eyes wide with fear. She looked at the computer, then at the door. She was trapped in the room with the proof. She finally understood the depth of my quiet planning. But she made one final, desperate attempt to escape. "Wait, Jordan," she whispered, her voice shaking now. "I used my phone to log in to the shared folder. I deleted it from the cloud app on my phone. The IP address should be the library Wi-Fi router, not this specific machine. It proves nothing." I nodded slowly. "That's what you thought. But your phone was too slow and too weak to handle 48 big files. You were logged in on the desktop version of the cloud drive using the fast wired Wi-Fi here. When you hit delete on your phone, the delete command ran fastest on the machine where the data lived." "This machine?" She looked at the screen in horror. "Yes, this machine," I confirmed. "But I made one more rule. Upon any large-scale deletion, the system copies the IP address and forwards the log to a specific email address for security." 11:57 p.m. 2 minutes left. My file upload hit 95%. I looked at Kayla. I saw the shame flood her face. The log was already sent. Kayla stumbled back, finally realizing the depth of the trouble. She looked truly defeated, broken by her own greed. "But why? Why are you doing this, Jordan? You're going to lose family over a stupid internship," she pleaded, her voice barely audible. "You already lost the family," I replied, my voice breaking slightly, feeling the sharp pain of the lost relationship. The final confirmation flashed on my screen. Upload complete. Submission successful. 11:58 p.m. Deadline met. I turned back to my black screen. I typed one last command. Traceroute final log. Ixt. The screen showed the path the final log had taken after leaving the library computer. The log contained the time, the file name, the delete command, and the unique IP address. The trace showed the log didn't go to the judges. It didn't go to the school principal. It went to a single private email account. A very important email account. Kayla saw the email address on the screen. It was not mine. It was a name we both knew, a name of power and respect in our lives. It was the email of Aunt Lisa. Aunt Lisa was Kayla's mother. And Aunt Lisa was also one of the 3 final judges on the prestigious Urban Future Scholarship Review Board. Kayla gasped, falling against the cold metal shelf. She put her hand over her mouth to stop a scream. "You didn't send it to her," Kayla stammered, her voice shaking uncontrollably. "I didn't," I confirmed. "The system did. The system I programmed to automatically report suspicious activity and breaches of file integrity." I showed her the IP address the log was forwarded to. It wasn't Aunt Lisa's home. It was the unique secured address of the Urban Planning Department at the City Hall building downtown. The exact main office where the judges meet and access files. I looked at Kayla, my eyes finally tearing up. Not from pain, but from the cold certainty of final justice. "Your mum knew you were failing. She knew your submission was empty, I whispered. She was planning to use her power to quietly force the judges to pick you anyway. She told you to get my files, to make your project look good enough for her to defend your laziness. She was using her work computer to check on your progress, to cover for you. The log with the IP address of this library computer, I concluded, was sent directly to the email inbox on the City Hall computer of a sitting judge, who is your mother. It shows that your mother, a judge, was receiving files from a candidate who was deleting another candidate's work minutes before the deadline. The clock hit 11:59 p.m. The deadline was over. Kayla didn't just lose the scholarship, she lost her mum's high-paying job. She lost her mum's reputation. And she lost the only person who truly cared about her success. She looked at me, but she didn't see a cousin. She saw the quiet architect of her downfall. I packed up my things, leaving her standing alone in the cold, silent lab. The tears I finally cried were for the loss of family, not the loss of my portfolio. I walked out into the busy city night. I didn't win because I was the loudest. I won because I was the quietest, the most organized, and the one who knew that in the digital world, every single action leaves a footprint. I had not just submitted my portfolio. I had submitted the evidence that removed the corruption from the entire competition. I was free. The scholarship, the mentorship, the future. It all felt clean now. I walked toward the bus stop, the night air feeling crisp and new, ready to build my quiet towers for real. If this story of silent planning and total digital revenge gave you chills, hit the like button right now. Did Jordan go too far by exposing his aunt, or was this the only way to protect his own future and ensure real fairness? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and if you believe that quiet resilience and knowing your tech is the ultimate power, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell. You absolutely do not want to miss the next time the truth wins.